Hi, boys and girls. I'm Miss Smith, and I'm a reading teacher at Bellevue. Today, I will reread the story, Jabari Jumps, and discuss more book connections. 1 second as I share my slide. To recap from yesterday, our learning target is, I can relate my previous experiences to books I read. Yesterday, we talked about the text-to-text connection. This is when the book you are reading reminds you of another book that you've read. And I said the book Jabari Jumps reminded me of Chrysanthemum because both characters feel so confident and happy at the end. Today, we'll talk about this text-to-self connection. This is when the book you're reading reminds you of experiences that you have had in your own life. And then we'll talk about the text-to-world connection. This is when the book you're reading reminds you of bigger topics in the world. Sometimes as we read, we say to ourselves, oh, I did something like that. Or, oh, I know how this character feels because I've had the same feelings. When you have these thoughts, you are relating the book to yourself. This helps us to understand the characters and the story that you're reading better. Now let's read Jabari Jumps again. As I read, be thinking about how Jabari acts and feels in the story, and times when you have also acted or felt the same way as Jabari. Jabari Jumps by Gaia Cornwall. I'm jumping off the diving board today, Jabari told his dad. Really? Said his dad. The diving board was high and maybe a little scary, but Jabari had finished his swimming lessons and passed his swim test, and now he was ready to jump. I'm a great jumper, said Jabari, so I'm not scared at all. Jabari watched the other kids climb the long ladder. They walked all the way out to the end of the board, as big as tiny bugs. Then they stood on the edge. They spread their arms and bent their knees and sprang up, up, up. And then they dove down, 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 splash. Looks easy, Jabari said. But when his dad squeezed his hand, Jabari squeezed back. Jabari stood at the bottom of the ladder. He looked up. You can go before me if you want, he told the kid behind him. I need to think about what kind of special jump I'm going to do. Jabari thought and thought. Jabari started to climb up, up, up. This ladder is very tall, he thought. Are you okay? Called his dad. I'm just a little tired, said Jabari. Maybe you should climb down and take a tiny rest, said his dad. A tiny rest sounded like a good idea. When he got to the bottom, Jabari remembered something. I forgot to do my stretches, he said to his dad. Stretching is very important, said his dad. I think tomorrow might be a better day for jumping, Jabari said. They looked up at the diving board together. It's okay to feel a little scared, said his dad. Sometimes, if I feel a little scared, I take a deep breath and tell myself, I am ready. And you know what? Sometimes it stops feeling scary and feels a little like a surprise. Jabari loved surprises. Jabari took a deep breath and felt it fill his body from the ends of his hair right down to the tips of his toes. Jabari looked up. He began to climb. Up and up and up and up until he got to the top. Jabari stood up straight. He walked all the way to the end of the board. His toes curled around the rough edge. Jabari looked out as far as he could see. He felt like he was ready. I love surprises, he whispered. He took a deep breath and spread his arms and bent his knees. Then he sprang up off the board, flying. Jabari hit the water with a splash. Down, down, down he went, and then back up. Whoosh! Jabari, you did it, said his dad. I did it, said Jabari. I'm a great jumper. And you know what? What, said his dad. Surprise double backflip is next. So, did you relate the book, Jabari, to anything in your own life? I made a lot of connections. I had a lot of the same feelings Jabari did. Just like he was scared when he was climbing up the ladder, I felt really scared when I was climbing up some rocks on a big mountain hike I was doing. And I kept putting it off and telling my husband and my son that they could go first, just like Jabari did when he was afraid to go up and jump off the diving board. I also made another connection because Jabari had his dad to help him encourage him. And I also had my husband and my son encourage me and telling me that I could do it and get to the top of the mountain. So I was making a text-to-self connection. Now let's look at our independent work. At the top it says, I can make text-to-self connections. You can either print this page off or just talk about it with somebody at home. Here's what I would do. In box 1, it says Jabari jumps. So I wrote, in this story, Jabari was nervous and uncertain about jumping off the diving board. In box 2, I drew a picture of the big mountain and the rocks I had to climb. And I wrote, I am like Jabari because I felt scared and nervous about climbing a high mountain. The last way that we make book connections is to make text-to-word connections. In this connection, the book we are reading reminds us of something about the world in which we live. Does anything in the book Jabari Jumps remind you of something about our world? In the book, Jabari's dad tells him it's okay to feel a little scared. And he tells him, if I feel a little scared, I take a deep breath and I tell myself, I am ready. Maybe we all feel like Jabari right now, living through this quarantine. We can't go to school and play with our friends. We can't go to places that we're used to going. We feel scared watching the news and hearing about people getting sick. But I hope you have someone loving and kind, like Jabari's dad, telling you and comforting you that things are going to be okay. I know your teachers miss you so much, and we encourage you to be safe and to be strong and brave. So, let's fill out this text-to-word connection, or you can just talk about it with someone at home. In box 1, here's how I filled it out. I put, in this story, Jabari had his dad to make him feel better. In box 2, I drew a picture of the coronavirus, and I said, this makes me think of the coronavirus because I sometimes have feelings of being scared just like Jabari. That was me making a text-to-word connection. Maybe you have a different text-to-word connection from the story Jabari Jumps. So, as we read more books this summer, boys and girls, I hope that you are going to relate your books to your previous experiences that you've had. And you can do that by asking these 3 questions. 1, does this book remind me of another book? 2, does this book remind me or something I've experienced? 3, does this book remind me about the world in some way? We get a deeper understanding of the character's actions and feelings when we make these connections. Have a great summer, boys and girls. Stay safe, and I hope you read lots of great books.